Hello friends, welcome to my channel Learn English with Asmita in yet another video. In today's video, we will learn active passive voice. It is a question which is asked standard board examination. Now let us learn what is an active voice,
the passive voice.
With the help of some sentences, I will try to explain to you all how to change the sentences from the active voice to passive voice. Let us take the first sentence. Have a look at the first sentence on the board. The gardener waters the plants every morning. Now this sentence is in active voice. Now why this sentence is said to be in the active voice is because the subject in the sentence is active. It does an action upon an object. It does an action upon an object. So it is said to be in the active voice. When the subject of a sentence is active, subject meaning the doer of the action in the English language is called as the subject. When the subject is active and it actively does an action upon an object, the sentence is said to be in the active voice. And when the subject is passive and it receives an action being done upon it by an object, it is said to be in the passive voice. Now this will be clear with the help of examples. Let us try to learn this with the help of examples. See the first sentence. The gardener waters the plants every morning. Now when we change the sentences from the active to passive voice, we will also have to consider, we will also have to take into account in what tense the sentence is, whether it is in the simple present tense, whether it is in the simple past tense, any tense that it is in. So now when I say the gardener waters the plants every morning, this sentence is in the simple present tense. First of all, let us see that it is in the simple present tense. Simple present tense. Simple present tense. I have already covered different tenses in my previous video. If you want to learn, you can go and check there. Now simple present tense, it is used to show habitual activity or an activity which is done on a regular basis, or something which is true in general, or something which is truth, something which is true in general. Now see, the gardener waters the plants every morning. This activity of watering is done every morning. The gardener waters the plants. So the gardener is the subject in the sentence. Gardener is the subject. Waters the plants. Waters is the verb in the sentence. And what it is doing? It is watering what? It is watering the plants. So the plants becomes the object. The plants is the object in the sentence. Now the gardener, the subject or the doer of the action is active. The doer of the action, the gardener, is active and it is actively doing an action of watering upon the object, the plants. So the sentence is in the active voice. This sentence is in the active voice. This sentence is in the active voice. Now when I the question is asked like this in the exam, you will have to change the sentence from the active voice to passive voice. Now I have already told you all that when you change the sentence from the active voice to passive voice, this subject will become the object and the object now will become the subject. See, the position of the subject and object will change. The plants. Now I will have to take care that I am doing it in the simple present tense. The plants are watered. The plants are watered by the gardener. Every morning. The plants are watered by the gardener every morning. Now the plants, plural plants, so the verb is are, the auxiliary verb is are, watered, past participle of watered by the gardener. Now the object has become the subject and the subject has become the object when you change the sentence from the active to passive voice. Now the plants here subject have become passive. It is not active but it is passive. When the subject is passive meaning the subject now receives an action. The subject, the plants, receives an action of being watered by the gardener. So this sentence is in the passive voice. Okay. Let us take the second sentence. See, the gardener. I am taking the same sentence, similar one, so that you understand it easily. The gardener is watering the plants. Now see, this sentence, the gardener is watering the plants, it is in the continuous tense, present continuous tense. The sentence is in the present continuous tense because an action of watering is going on when I am talking about it. Now the gardener's action of watering is going on. The gardener is watering the plants. ing form, okay? ing form of the verb, it shows that it is in continuous tense. Okay? So the gardener is the subject. Now the gardener is the subject S plus watering is the verb plus the plants is the object in the sentence. Now how this sentence is active is because the gardener is doing an action of watering the plant. So it is active. Now when we want to change it from the active voice to passive voice, now the object will become the subject and the subject will become the object. How? The plants. Now when we change the sentences like this from the active to passive voice, we will have to take care that we do not change the meaning of the given sentence. So if it is given in the present continuous tense, we will have to change it in the present continuous tense only. So the plants, plural plants, so the plural auxiliary verb, the plants are being watered by the gardener. by the gardener. Now you see the plants receives an action of being watered by the gardener. The plants is not active but it is passive since it receives an action being done upon it by the gardener. So this sentence is in the passive voice. First is active and the second one is passive voice. Passive voice. Now when you change the sentence in the present continuous tense, see the structure of it. Any sentence when you frame, you will have to remember the structure. First is the subject plus is, are, depending upon the subject that you are using. Subject plus is or are, auxiliary verb, plus being is used for the present continuous tense. So being plus past participle of the verb watered plus object. Let me write it down so that subject, when you change sentences in the present continuous tense only, this structure is for the present continuous tense. Subject plus is, are, plus being for it. Being is used for the present continuous tense. Be okay? Plus past participle of the verb. Past participle of the verb. Past participle of the verb plus object. The gardener. Okay. So you will have to remember the structure here, and here in the simple present tense the structure is subject plus is or are, the auxiliary verb, depending upon the subject that you are using. If it is singular, singular verb. If it is plural, plural verb. So the plants are watered by the gardener. See the structure for the simple present tense. Subject plus is or are, that will depend upon the subject that you are using. Singular subject, singular verb. Plural subject, plural verb. The plants are watered. So subject plus is, are, plus past participle of the verb plus object for the simple present tense. Now see this sentence, third one. The gardener has watered the plants. Now this sentence is in the present perfect tense because the action of watering the plants is completed. First of all, let us see that the sentence is in the present perfect tense. It is in the present perfect tense. Perfect meaning an action is completed. Okay, from the name itself you understand that this type of tense is used to show that an action is completed. Okay, now let us see that this sentence is in the active voice because the subject, by now I have explained to you all in the two sentences that the subject, meaning the one who is doing the action, the doer of an action, is called as the subject. Now the gardener, again I have taken the similar sentence. The gardener is the subject in the sentence. The gardener has watered the plant because the gardener is active, it is watering the plants. Okay. So now let us see how we will change this sentence from active to passive voice. This is the subject, this is the verb, and this is the object. Now the object will become the subject and the subject will become the object. The plants, I have told you all already that plants plural. So the plural auxiliary verb, the plants have been, the plants have been, have been watered, the plants have been watered by the gardener. The plants have been watered by the gardener. The plants have been watered by the gardener. Have been watered by the gardener. Now see the plants. Now when you change the sentences from the active voice to passive voice, in the present perfect tense, the structure is like this. I am giving the structure because it will be easier for you all to form any type of sentences when they are asked to change from the active to passive voice. So the plants, so the subject, I am writing it here, the subject plus has, have, auxiliary verb you will have to use, plus been, past participle, been, past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb be. Okay, so be, past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb, have been watered by the gardener. Okay, gardener is the object, gardener is the object. So this is the structure for you all to change the sentences from active to passive voice in the present perfect tense. In the present perfect tense, subject plus has, have plus past participle of the verb plus object. Okay, so if you change any, if you want to change any sentence from the active voice to passive voice, this is the structure for you all to change. Okay, subject plus has, have plus past participle of the verb plus object. Okay, now let us see this sentence. I have read this book. I have read this book. Now this sentence is in the present perfect tense only. Okay, I have read this book. I have already read this book. So the action of reading is completed. Similar structure, the sentence is in the active voice. You will have to change it in passive voice. The structure is like this. I, subject, have, read is the verb. This book, book is the object. So now you will have to bring this here and this will go here, object. So let us change this. This book, this book, this book. Now this book, singular book, so the verb is has. This book has been, okay, has been past participle, has been read by me. This book has been read by me. If you see, the structure remains the same. Subject plus has plus been, past participle of the verb read by me, object. Okay, been plus read. Okay. Been you will have to add past participle of be. So this book has been read by me plus the main verb read. Okay. So this is the structure. The fifth sentence, the gardener watered the plants. Now this sentence, you understand that an action of watering is completed already. The gardener watered the plants. It is in the simple past tense. the action of watering is completed. So now we will have to change the sentence in passive voice now. The gardener water the plants. The gardener is active. He is doing the action of watering the plants. So now the subject will become the object and the object in the sentence will become the subject. The plants in the simple past tense. The sentence is in the simple past tense. That we will have to take into consideration, because otherwise our sentence will go wrong. The meaning of the sentence I have already told you all, that it should not change when you change any sentence from the active to passive voice. So the gardener watered the plants. The plants, it will be like this, the plants were watered by the gardener. The plants were watered by the gardener. The plants were watered by the gardener. So was and were auxiliary verb in the past, it is used in the past tense. So this will depend upon the subject, whether it is singular or whether it is plural, plus past participle of the verb plus object. Okay, when you change it in the simple past tense, subject plus was, were, plus past participle, whatever past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb plus object. Okay, this is the structure for changing sentences from active to passive voice in the simple past tense. Now another thing you will have to remember is that this, why is there need to change sentences from the active voice to passive voice. Now this type of sentences, they are used when you are reporting about an incident or an event, and it is used in the
used for reporting
newspapers,
news in newspapers,
or when any event is to be reported on TV channel. Okay, so it is useful in our daily life when you want to report an incident which has already taken place. Okay, or if two persons they are conversing, and if you want to tell the third person what they talked about between themselves, we use passive voice. Okay, sentence, the gardener was watering the plants. Now this sentence is in the past tense, in the past continuous tense. When I am talking about it, the action is continuous, the action was going on in the past. So was watering, from this we understand that the action of watering the plants was still going on in the past. Now first of all we will have to identify the tense of the sentence. So it is in the past continuous tense. How we will change it? Past, I will write in short, past continuous tense. Let us change it now. The plants were plural noun. So the plural auxiliary verb were, the plants were being, you will have to add being for it, the plants, because in order to show for past continuous form of the verb we use being, verb form of be, past continuous form of verb being, the plants were being watered. Now past participles were being watered by the gardener. Subject will become the object and the object will become the subject. The plants were being watered by the gardener. Now let us see the structure of the sentence. Structure of the sentence when you change the sentence in the past continuous tense, subject plus was and were auxiliary verb, that will depend upon the subject, whether it is singular, whether it is plural. Subject plus was, were plus being, for it you will have to add being, whether it is in the past continuous tense or whether it is in the present continuous tense, we will have to add being form of the verb, being, plus past participle of the verb watered, plus past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb plus object, plus object. I am repeating, the structure is necessary for you all to change any sentence easily, okay, without making a mistake. Seventh one, let us move on to the next one. The gardener had watered the plants. Now the action is completed in the past. Had watered the plants. The gardener had watered the plants, meaning his action of watering the plants is completed in the past. Now let us change it. First let me write it down that it is in the past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. Just change it now. The plants had been, it will be like this, the plants had been watered by the gardener. The plants had been watered by the gardener. The plants had been watered by the gardener. Now why is it necessary that we change these sentences from active to passive voice? Because it is used when you are reporting an event or whether you are reporting an incident which has already taken place. It is useful when you report, okay, in newspapers or on news channel, okay. So for that it is important that we change sentences from active to passive voice, or when we want to report what two persons they have already conversed between themselves. Okay, the plants had been watered by the gardener. This is the structure when you change the sentence from active to passive voice. In case of past perfect tense, the plants had been watered by the gardener. Subject structure is subject plus had plus been plus past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb plus object, Now see the eighth sentence. The gardener will water the plants. Now past tense I have completed. Will, you understand that it is in the future tense. Will, shall, these auxiliary verbs we use in case of future tense. The gardener will water the plants. Okay. Now this sentence is in the active voice. We will have to change it in the passive voice. The gardener will water the plants is in the simple future tense. Is in the simple future tense. is in the simple future tense. Now the gardener will water the plants. How we will change? The plant object will become the subject. The plants will be watered by the gardener. Don't change the meaning of the given sentence. Okay? The plants will be watered by the gardener. The plants subject, the structure now I am talking about, will plus be infinitive plus past participle of the verb, past participle of the verb plus the object, the gardener. Here in the sentence, the gardener. This is the structure. See the sentence. The peon will sweep the floor. This sentence is also in the simple future tense. The peon will sweep the floor. Let us change it to passive voice. The floor will be swept by the peon. Same structure, you see, subject plus will plus be plus past participle of the verb swept. Okay, past participle of the verb plus object. Subject plus will plus be plus past participle of the verb plus object. Okay. Now based on a study, let us test whether we have understood it or not, what we have learnt in this video. Let us take the first sentence. My mother cooks tasty food. Now in what tense the sentence is? It is in the simple present tense. Two things that we will have to do in this exercise. One is that we will have to identify the tense. Second one, we will have to change the sentence from active to passive voice. If the sentence is in passive voice, we will have to change it into active voice. My mother cooks tasty food. It is in the simple present tense. Simple present tense. The first thing that we have done is we have identified the tense correctly. Second one is that we will have to change the sentence from active to passive voice. My mother cooks tasty food. How we will change it? Tasty food object will become the subject. Tasty food is cooked by my mother. Is cooked by my mother. Tasty food is cooked by my mother. Is plus past participle of the verb plus object. This cake has been baked by my mother. This cake has been baked by my mother. Now in what voice is this sentence? This cake has been baked. Now the subject in this sentence is passive. This cake has been baked by my mother. So this sentence is in the passive voice. Okay? We will have to change it into active voice. This cake has been baked by my mother is in the present perfect tense. Sentence is in the present perfect tense. Present perfect tense, and this is active voice. This is passive voice. We will have to change it into active voice. Here the sentence was in the active voice. My mother has baked. My mother. How it will be in the active voice? My mother has baked. My mother has baked this cake. My mother has baked this cake. This cake has been baked by my mother. Third one, Ronak is eating a mango. Ronak is eating a mango. Active voice. Ronak is active. He is eating a mango. So the sentence is in active voice. Is eating ing form of the verb, meaning the sentence is in present continuous tense. Is present continuous tense. Present continuous tense. Now let us change the sentence. A mango is being eaten by Ronak in the passive voice. A mango is plus being past continuous, being plus eaten past participle of the verb eat and object. So I hope you have understood the content of today's video. If you have understood it, please like the video, share it and subscribe the video if you have not subscribed. And thank you for watching my video. Keep practicing. Bye.